All right, we're going to start the September the 15th tentative budget public hearing. We'll have call to order. We'll have invocation and pledge of allegiance. We'll have roll call. All right, pledge of allegiance, Mr. First, and I'll do the invocation. Everybody stand, please. Heavenly Father, we appreciate you watching over us tonight as we go over our budget, annual budget for the citizens in the city of Ocoee. We appreciate all the work that goes into this process by our employees and our commissioners and staff. We want to ask you to watch over our first responders and the COVID as we go about our daily duties. We ask that you watch out over us as we go through this book and help that we come up with the answers that we need to move forward this year. In God's name we say amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Brunson?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson? Here. Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Ferstner?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver is absent.
Does anybody know?
I haven't heard that.
All right, we'll start off here on item 8, Mayor's announcement. This is a public hearing on the tentative budget and proposed millage rate for the city of Ocoee. Notice of this hearing was contained in the notice of proposed property taxes mailed by the property appraiser. The city commission has previously set a proposed millage rate of 5.15, which represents a 3.25% increase in millage over the rollback rate of 4.9879 mills. All right, we're going to have the briefing by the city attorney.
The preliminary millage rate set by the City Commission and contained in the trim notice is 5.15 mills. The maximum millage rate, which may be levied by the city by regular majority vote for the 2021-2022 fiscal year, is 7.1534 mills. Such maximum millage rate having been determined pursuant to Section 200.1853A Florida statutes. The establishment of a millage rate between 7.1535 mills and 7.8687 mills requires 2/3 vote, a supermajority of the membership of the City Commission, or 4 votes. The establishment of a millage rate between 7.8688 mills and 10 mills requires a unanimous vote of the City Commission. Additionally, any millage rate adopted above the preliminary millage rate of 5.15 mills would require notice by first-class mail to each taxpayer. The tentative millage rate adopted at this hearing will become the maximum millage rate which may be adopted by the City Commission at the public hearing on the final millage rate. A unanimous vote or a 2/3 vote may be required to adopt the tentative millage rate as the final millage rate. At the final public hearing, the City Commission may adopt a millage rate which is less than the tentative millage rate.
All right, we'll have a briefing by the finance director.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Chantel Pierre, the Chief Accountant. I'd like to draw your attention to the pages, the additional pages left on your dioceses. The first page is the budget summary. There was a Scrivener's error on this page. Pages 88 through 92, we inadvertently left out the General Government Services Department. So those pages are being added in. Okay. Subsequent to the budget workshop, at the request and consensus of the commission, the ad valorem rate was adjusted to 5.05. In addition, street operations was adjusted to include $10,000 for blinking speed lighted signs and $12,000 for a speed table for Geneva Road. Finance also adjusted the budget to include revenues from the American Rescue Plan Act, $24,172,698. An offsetting expenditure was also budgeted within the capital projects as a placement holder until the city arrives at a spending plan for those funds. The total budget for the city of Ocoee is $121,480,457. The general fund budget is $78,712,989. and is balanced at 5.05 mils, which is .10 mil lower than the tentative millage rate approved by the commission, or $342,755. The tentative rate of 5.15 is the same as the current millage rate of 5.15 mils, and is .1621 mils higher than the rollback rate totaling $555,606, 3.2%. The difference between 5.05 mils and the rollback rate is .0621 mils, $212,851, or 1.25%. Ad valorem taxes are used to finance city operations, including providing quality city services, maintaining city infrastructure through capital projects, and funding salaries for the city employees as required to provide services.
All right. I will now call upon the public for comments and questions regarding the tentative budget. Anybody in the public for comments and questions regarding the tentative budget? All right, I'm going to go on. I will now call upon the City Commission for comments and questions. City Commissioners? I think we've about got everything worked out, but anybody comments you want to make?
Is this comments and questions?
Yep.
Okay, I'll, quite a few. I spoke with some of the city staff already on this matter, but I think it's important that we bring to the attention.
Pull that mic up a little closer there, Commissioner.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and one of the questions I had that's not in here, that I'm sure that we're going to have to address, not just IT architecture, which is rolled into the pricing of the new city hall, but also the enterprise software that we need to address with replacing throughout the city. Is that something that you talked about in building this budget, or are you just going to wait for the out years?
Mr. Brinson, we did not include any capital spend for replacing the enterprise system, if you're referring to the financial enterprise system, which is the backbone of our reporting, financial reporting. We have had discussions about replacing the enterprise system, and we recognize that we need to do that. However, that is a major project and a very expensive project. With the number of huge capital projects, particularly City Hall, that are underway at the moment, as senior management, we discussed it would be nearly impossible to tackle that project at the same time. So we understand we need to do it, and we will be trying to fund that in the future once we are into the new City Hall. The City Hall structure itself has little impact on the enterprise system that drives our processes, but it does need to be replaced.
Okay, yeah, and I pretty much knew that would be the answer. I want to make sure that, for public record, that they know that we are addressing some of the other concerns that we have here in the city, and that's going to be a major, big-ticket item, if you will.
It will be a big ticket.
Enterprise IT architecture is a huge endeavor, so thank you for that. I know that, starting, I think, last month, I think I heard a report that building supplies are going down. Is that going to affect us anyway, as far as what we got going on with the new City Hall and other projects we have throughout the city, as far as the budgeting of funding for that?
Do you want to answer, or would you like me to take it?
It will have some impact, but probably very minor impact. At this point, we have bought out a large portion of the project. You still have some items which they will be buying out in the future, and if it does drop, we will take advantage of those items. Some drywall has probably not been purchased. Most of the ODP purchases do come through the city, and I would tell you that we they've actually let most of the contracts. So we'll have some items still coming up for purchase, but a large majority of the materials have already been purchased.
Okay, are we getting that? Do we have lock-in prices for
When the contracts are done, yes. And then we've had some cost escalation, which, because the contracts were locked in early, that we've actually gained an advantage from, because they had to supply the materials at the cost that was given, so the contract stays the same. But as we move forward, we'd take advantage of any lower pricing with anything that we haven't bought yet.
Okay, because I can foresee that could possibly be a problem if
The lead times are actually what's been a problem. I mean, how early we've had to purchase items has been the real issue.
okay, thank you, Director. This is another one, I don't know if the mayor is going to address this, and I know I talked with city staff about this as well. In the budget, I see sidewalk maintenance, but what I don't see is sidewalk construction budgeted for. Is that something that we don't normally do, or is that something that we're doing later, or what?
Commissioner, I know streets budget includes replacing sidewalks. We don't currently have any projects for new sidewalks except for the one up at Ingram. That's in a previous budget year in the capital program. Unless they're also included in some of the road projects that we're doing, but we don't have any separate sidewalk projects identified at this point.
Okay, and the reason I bring that up is because we've addressed, I know the mayor's brought that up throughout the year, about there are communities that don't have sidewalks, and it can be a safety concern for our youth and others walking along the side of the road because there's no sidewalk. But whilst you're there, thank you for that response, but whilst you're there, the light at Ingram Road, I don't know if this is going to be something that Rob or yourself is going to tackle. Is that in here somewhere, the funding for that light?
The county, the share with the county to put that light in? Yeah, it's taken care of in this budget. It's in impact fees though, so you're not going to see it in an operational.
Comes out of
You
impact
may or may not see it in capital, but it'll be funded through impact fees. So
Okay.
there's no impact on the budget.
Okay, which is wonderful. And the other question I have, and I spoke with senior staff earlier, and I just want to make sure that we're all aware, the funding for that light, reimbursement for it, it cannot be used or cannot be reimbursed through the ARPA funding, is that correct?
Typically, I'm not aware of any road or traffic type projects that can be reimbursed by that. It's mostly water, wastewater, and stormwater projects,
Correct.
That's good. Okay.
unfortunately.
Okay. Almost done, I promise.
While you're looking for that, can I make a quick comment on
Sure.
your? One of the things Commissioner Brinson said was, is one of the roads is Ingram Road also for sidewalks. To see, I don't know, when is that in the plan, Steve? Because we're trying to get the lights there, but we need sidewalks.
Right, we want to do the sidewalks after the lighting's put in
Okay.
place because of all the trucks that are going to be
Yeah.
in there. But we have it set up with the money set
Okay.
aside to do that as soon as it
Yeah,
happens.
okay, yeah, thanks. I just wanted to make sure that's part of theirs, yeah. Sorry, Commissioner.
Oh, no worries. Here you go. I got in here sidewalks twice, so I don't want to do that. Forgive me how I put these in here. This is on page 69. I'm looking at, at the bottom of the page under physical environment, capital improvements. You got $50,000 allocated. What is that for? You see?
Sounds like an AC or a roof, so.
That is for new fencing at the cemetery.
I didn't hear you.
New fencing at the cemetery.
Okay.
My pen stopped working.
Gotta keep them in.
Okay. Thank you. Sidewalks, we don't talk about those again. Improvements. Okay, on page 142. Page 142. I don't know what to make of this page, so if you could explain to me what that page is all about. It's regarding revenues by, I don't know who it's for.
The historical revenues.
Yes.
So the graph will represent that where you were 2018, 19, 20, 21, and budgeted 21, budgeted 22, as far as the historical revenues for, see which department we are in, water and wastewater fund. The coloration will show you the sources of that revenue.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Okay, so in fiscal year 21, it's budgeted for 600,000, a little over 600,000. But for fiscal year 22, we're looking at almost 9 million. That's where I'm and then at the total revenue resource for fiscal 22 is 21 million?
Yeah, Mr. Brinson, the first line you see there is cash balance. That's the amount of fund balance that is being used to balance the budget for the year. So in fiscal 21, we only needed to use $614,000 of fund balance to balance the budget. In fiscal 22, we're using a little over 8 million, close to 9. That's primarily, well, it's entirely because of the number of capital projects which the utility department is undertaking in the calendar year. We set aside the capital at the time that we budget for the capital. So we are using 8.9 million of fund balance to self-fund capital projects.
Okay. And that, other than the $9 million, that fund seems like it was relatively healthy for us to be able to draw.
It is relatively healthy. We are able to draw. Ms. Cruteau is managing very closely the revenue streams for that fund and the expenditures that we are planning. In the back of your book, you'll see her 5-year capital plan. She actually has a 10-year capital plan where she is managing what her inflows and outflows will look like.
Okay.
Can I ask, no, I'm sorry.
Sure. No, please.
That, under Craig, somebody answered, under that rescue plan thing, is that some of the way we can save some of that money under that?
I can answer if you'd like. Yes, we
So we might not have to take that.
We might not have to take all of it out of their fund balance, depending upon, we will come to the commission with a plan for the use of those funds.
So that could be saved.
Correct. Depends on the plan that is
Yeah.
approved
Okay.
and which projects are approved.
Mayor, I think the good news is, even if we did have to take it out of there, that's money that's been specifically put aside for those
Yeah, yeah.
projects, and it was part of the rate studies we've done, and it's in the per 1,000-gallon charge that we
Yeah.
charge to the residents. So worst case is it's been budgeted for and through the
might-
years, and it's just time to go ahead and do some of those projects
Okay.
now.
Yeah, we might have.
Which is good to know, because I think everyone here on the DICE and most of the city's staff, if not all of them, understand that we're about to get an infusion, first tranche of monies from the federal government. But of course, this is, some of the questions I have is for public information and education. So bear with me.
You'll all see more on this to come, starting, I believe, the next meeting.
Correct.
As far as how we need to deal with those ARPA funds, and we're going to have to come up with projects, we're going to have to come up with a way to deal with them and comply with the federal requirements and those types of things. So it'll be starting very shortly.
Right, and I'm sure the federal requirements are considerable.
They are considerable and changing every day.
Right. I'm looking at the road impact fund. Is that fund also healthy? Because I'm looking at what are the most needs that we have in the city, and is that addressed in this budget?
Yes, and road impact fees, keep in mind, are very restricted as to use. They have to be used for growth-oriented projects. So anything that is tied to or caused by the growth in the city. So for example, that light has to be installed because there's more traffic, because there are more citizens on the road, so we can justify using road impact fees. But it is healthy. We do not let the fund balance be fully depleted. It is managed with Mr. Shadrick's and Mr. Rumer, the projects that we use that fund for. This year, you won't see a lot of capital assigned in that fund because we used quite a bit of it in the last 2 years, so we are watching carefully that fund balance.
Most recent expenditures we'll be using that for is the Clark Road, the last the expansion segments for Clark Road will be coming out of that account that you referred to, Commissioner.
Yeah, that was a 4.6, if I'm correct, $1 million expenditure allocated out of that fund.
And I think that's important for us to, to flush that out, even, somewhat itemize some of the things we're doing with those monies, so the public knows that there's a lot of thought that goes into building a budget and where we're going to spend money throughout the city. So I thank you again for your team's effort in putting together this budget. That's it.
Is that it? Commissioner Wilson?
I'd just like to take a moment, first of all, to thank the city staff, city manager's office, because this budget was a tough one to come together with the last time we talked, 5.15, and to get everything that we want within the city, getting a new city hall, everything that's happening within the city. Thank you so much, because most of you are all sitting here. Thank you for all that you've done to make that possible. I look at the budget, and I spent a lot of time prior to talking to the city manager, assistant city manager, regarding what's in here. And when we vote on this, a lot of these projects, even though they don't affect you in the district you live in, they do affect you in total, because we all travel the other roads, we all travel the other streets that are involved in this. I know a lot of talk has been about Ingram Road, but yet we all go there. And there's things that have been happening on Clark Road. There's resurfacing in District 2. My district alone, we have a lot of established neighborhoods. Sidewalks are always an issue, which Steve works on as fast as they can, as much cement they can receive. There's so many things that are happening within the whole city, and our budget encompasses all of that, and we vote on it. It's not just looking for what's happening in District 2. We have to look at what's happening in all the other districts, because we travel that area. I thank you, because I look at my own, I brought my trim bill with me, and when I look at what we pay in the city of Ocoee, in my case, what's projected is $582.04. Don't forget the 4 cents. But I think what I get from the city for that $580 is wonderful. I think, again, doing a great job putting that together, so I appreciate that. This year we've gotten, that's going to happen next year when Commissioner Brinson mentioned sidewalks. $3 million budget from the $3 million grant from the West Orange Healthcare District regarding the wellness park that's going to be happening in District 3. But yet, we all have an opportunity to use that. And sidewalks, some new sidewalks that will be going in along Blueford Avenue that will make that area coming from Highway 50 more accessible for walkers. So again, it affects all of us. Again, $121 million budget. Thank you, you've done a great job. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner first. I don't have any questions, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank all the department directors and the finance department for doing another wonderful job this year, as you have been all along. I really like the new format of the budget book. It's heads and shoulders above what we've had in the past. It's really right there, right at your fingertips.
Thank you.
So.
And if you visit the Ocoee.org website, you will find a link where this budget book is menu-driven, and it's available for our constituents and for yourselves to actually click through. So you don't even have to refer to the book if you don't want to. We are still compliant. We do have a PDF ADA compliant version out there, but there's a link to
Yeah, that's
interact.
fantastic, fantastic. That's all I have.
All right, before I move on, a couple of things. The budget process is, over the years, I've watched it change and change and change, and it changes to the better all the time. We appreciate that. Once again, the staff is one of the big things that I think help run our city. They run our city, and as we as commissioners and the mayor appreciate it, I think the citizens need to know that with what our city manager and our staff does and finance people with our budget is outstanding. You go to a lot of cities and see some of the problems they have and some of the things they're not doing, and look at us, and what we're doing is amazing. So we keep above, and just like in the reserve fund, we have a great reserve fund, and our city is running in a great way. The other thing is, I want to say something. Over the years I've been here, I don't remember 35 years, we've ever given away 3.5% as a salary for employees. I don't think we've ever done that. Do you remember that, Commissioner Wilson? I don't think we've ever raised it to 3.5%. So I think the employees, I'd like to give them 10%, but it's where we have to do what's in line, what the citizens can afford and what we do. But I do want to say thank you for the staff for putting us in the condition that we can let our employees who have stuck with us. Most of them, you will find our employees stay here. It's unusual. Even our city manager's been, 18 years?
18 years.
18 years. And let me tell you something, that's an unusual anatomy for city government. I can tell you, I've seen a lot of, back in the old days, we used to interview 120 people, applications for 120. The average was 2 to 3 years in the max. But we appreciate it. And it's not just the city manager, it's the assistant city manager and all the staff and all the directors and all the workers out there every day. And whatever we can give them, we want to do that, and we appreciate it. So I thank you from me, and I thank you heard the staff, the commissioners, we appreciate it. And it's not just saying that, it's something, and I was glad Rob didn't have to say, we didn't ask him about the raise, he already put it in, so that's great. So we appreciate that, and I know all the employees will. It's tough times with what's going on, but our staff has been good and keep getting better. Our departments keep getting bigger and better at the same time. So we appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Mayor. And just to remind the commission, in addition to the 3.5%, we do have that extra money going for the employees in the 3 lowest tiers this year to
Yes,
start
I'm
moving
sorry,
us towards the
the
$15 minimum wage.
That is a big thing. We have got to get that salary up, and they've worked on that and come up with it for us, and that's great. Make sure you tell those employees too. If there are any amendments to the proposed tentative budget, I will entertain a motion with respect to such amendments. That's only for amendments.
Are you have to make a motion?
I don't think we need a motion yet. No.
Well, I think you're still at 5.15 at this
Yeah.
point, so,
We got to get
correct?
through this.
So that would be one of the motions, if you wanted to bring, you still have the second public hearing, if you wanted to do that. If you wanted to make that move tonight, you could make the motion to,
All right, here's what's next. You've got it computed already, right?
I have it computed, it is presented, and as it was read.
So it's now going to be 5.0,
0.0500.
5.05?
Yes.
005 or 05?
05.
Okay. All right,
The percentage increase?
The percentage increase is 1.25%.
now, all right, we're back down here now, let's see. All right, I got to go. All right, we'll call upon the public again for comments and questions. Anybody in the public have any comments and questions? All right, we're back. Nobody? All right, we're back to the commission again. Comments and questions. We don't have to, but if you want to.
Good.
Everybody good? Yep. All right, we're going to move to the, I need a motion to adopt the tentative millage rate.
Let me go ahead and read the title to the ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, establishing a tentative millage rate of 5.0500 mills for ad valorem taxes for the City of Ocoee for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2021, and ending September 30th, 2022, providing for millage adjustment, providing for collection of taxes, providing for 1.25% in millage rate over the rollback rate, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
All right, at this time I will entertain a motion to adopt the tentative millage rate.
I'll make that motion to,
Motion for the tentative millage rate was made by Commissioner Whistler. Here's second.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Forster. All right, let's see. All right, we need to vote. No more questions? No more questions? Let's vote. Motion carries with the 4 commissioners with Commissioner Oliver absent. All right, now we back again here. What is the second one here? We're past that. We're down to here. All right, I will now call upon the city attorney to read the title of ordinance for the tentative budget.
All right, this is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Orange County, Florida, adopting a tentative budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2021, and ending September 30th, 2022, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
We've already read that we already made that motion.
Yeah.
Huh?
We've done that for the millage, now we're doing the budget.
All right, this is for the budget, tentative budget. I need a motion.
I'll make that motion to adopt the tentative budget.
Motion made by Commissioner Forster. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Brinson for the adopt the tentative budget. No more questions or talk? Let's vote. Motion carried with 4 votes, Commissioner Oliver absent. Now do we, back here. All right, before we conclude, I would like to announce the public hearing to consider the final millage rate and final budget is scheduled for Wednesday, September the 22nd, 2021 at 6 p.m. to be held here in our City Hall Commission chambers. The hearing has been advertised in accordance with the provisions of Section 200.065 Florida statutes and Section C-37, Article 6 of the Ocoee City Charter. The appropriate ordinances necessary to adopt the final millage rate and final budget will be prepared by city staff, and all other action necessary to comply with the requirements of Section 200-065 Florida statutes will be undertaken. Before I adjourn the meeting, are there any comments from the commission?
No comments.
Rob?
Yes, sir.
If we have that next meeting, we can just kind of just come and meet and say, hey, and bye-bye, right?
Yeah, you have to have the meeting, unfortunately, and
Yeah.
you have to take, you have to open the public hearing. Looks like we're pretty much where we need to be. I think the one issue, we had a few extra dollars that if they're not spoken for, you could put those into contingency if there's anything additional that after October 1st you decide that you want to go ahead and purchase.
All right.
But
Everybody okay
you're
with
pretty
that?
much done.
All right. All righty, see you next week. What is it, next Wednesday, the 22nd? 6 o'clock. Great job.